There's an interesting little plant. She's ragwort. Grows quite tall, it's all around here. But this kills horses. If a horse was to eat it. Hello, Mr. B. It's quite blustery today. If a horse was to eat it, it makes its liver, infects the liver somehow. So then it can affect all the toxins go into the blood supply, and then gives the horse like really, really severe headaches, and then can go into seizures, and then it's kind of beginning of the end. But some people go mad trying to clear it out of everywhere that horses go. There's like massive differences of opinion on it. One, it's really good for bees. Two, there's a certain caterpillar that grows on it as well, a moth caterpillar. So it's one of those kind of wild plants that's useful. And the other thing is horses. Okay, you might have the 1 in a million horse that will eat it, but most horses won't touch it. Now, the time to be careful of it is if you're growing hay, because once it's dried, a horse can't distinguish it from the rest of the hay, and that's when it is going to eat it and make it very, very ill. So this is quite hard to navigate this. There's loads of big ruts. Oi. But yeah, obviously people have horses and they love their horses, so you need to look after them. But also it's one of those a useful plant for nature as well. So if you know, only strip it out of where horses go or where hay is made, it's fine. But there's no need to completely eradicate the species, because nature don't work like that, does it? There's a lovely little foxglove there, and if you don't know, don't go near them, don't pick them. Actually really, really toxic. Actually some hazelnuts, they're very nearly mature, look at them. The squirrels haven't got to them yet. For a little tree, that's got quite a lot on it. A hazelnut. Probably because it's a little way away from the woods and the squirrels don't come out here, I don't know. Usually they just get completely stripped before they're even ready. Looks like some alder growing there as well. Quite a useful tree. Alder doesn't rot as quickly in water. So if you're making something that's going to be in water, like paddle wheels and lock gates, alder's kind of the weapon of choice. Yeah. Some looks like primrose leaves on the floor there. These ones. Right, there is one thing that I'm looking for, and I guarantee I won't find it today. I'm looking for some mugwort, which is really good, well, good for loads of stuff. If I find it, we'll have a talk about it. Very close to mugwort. Well, this hasn't got the red stem. This is old hen, I believe. Yeah, an edible. You can boil down the leaves. I'll come into the wood now. There's usually quite a lot of deer in this wood, as long as you're nice and quiet. So that means as you're walking, yeah, you need to look out for not standing on any sticks and try and move as silently as possible. Obviously talking doesn't help, but then you'd look away in your peripheral vision if you see any sort of very dark or brown objects, and then you kind of focus on them, and it'll probably be a deer standing there looking at you, and then it'll be gone. but if you're walking along chatting or looking at your phone, you're going to miss it. Elder tree, check. It's dead. Check. So, on here, we might find some Jews here. There we go. There it is. So, try and focus on it a bit better. Right, Jew's ear, wood ear, jelly ear. It's called Jew's ear. It's not a slight against the Jews, but it was Judas who sold out Jesus, hung himself on an elder tree, apparently. Whether they have elder trees out there, I don't know. And this is supposed to be his ear. He's pegged on a tree for the rest of the time. Don't know why. Anyway, edible. Very hard to mistake for anything else. Fairly tasteless and a bit of a weird texture because it's a jelly ear, obviously. But if you go and pick something, like a good handful of those, then you would mix it in with meat and use it pretty much like pasta to bulk up a meal. Obviously, the nutritional value of it isn't masses. Like with all mushrooms, it's not worth the risk of picking something you don't know if you were hungry. Just leave them well alone. But you use it to bulk it up. So you can pick a load of it, leave it to dry, and it shrivels out to next to nothing, drop it in some water, it all swells up again, cook your dinner. If there's any left over, you can actually dry it again as well. It might lose a little bit of its flavour, but elder trees actually pretty interesting little trees, well, if you can call them a tree, that is. There's another dead one there. So you're looking for a light brown. There's a couple of little bits here there, very small ones. Move up here. There's a fair size one. As you can see, right, look, got a little beetle making a home in there. You see, it looks like an ear, doesn't it? It looks like a bat's ear or something. Oh, there's some nice ones there. And you can eat them raw. Just pick them up and go num num num. Well, this tree has got quite a lot growing on it. There's another few on that stem up there. Back to elder. Right, so elder has a pith running through the middle that you can press out, yeah? Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Okay, so elder trees. A lot of superstition around elder trees. Now, you get the odd person that says you're not allowed to burn elder trees because they're poisonous and they'll kill you dead. Because they contain cyanide. Well, I've looked into it at length, and a lot of trees contain cyanide. Cherry trees contain cyanide. No one says anything about burning them. So you're not going to get this mushroom cloud of cyanide gas pouring out of your campfire if you burn a bit of elder by accident, right? The reason for this, right? Okay, so that nice dead standing would be handy. You could burn that, no problem. Okay, it's a nice ground to grow your Jew's ear on. Other than that, you can burn it. But, okay, so these grow really, really straight, yeah? get offshoots that are really, really straight, and they're hollow. So you can push the pith out of them, and they're good for making flutes and whistles. So back in the old days, the village elders got sick to death of all the little plebs in the village setting fire to all the good stuff that's making the flutes and whistles. So they said, if you start burning it, your bum's going to fall off and your eyeball's going to fall out. Yeah. So, you know, terrible things will happen to you if you burn the elder tree. So that sort of superstition has stayed with a lot of people. They also say the old man of the woods lives in it, and he will get very upset if you burn an elder tree. But that's why. So the elders of the village have got all their elder trees for their flutes and whistles. All the people in the village burn other trees. Everybody's happy. But yeah, handy tree. Obviously elderflower in the spring, and elderberries very shortly. So flutes, whistles, tubes, blowpipes for keeping your fire going, Jew's ear, yeah, handy little tree to know. Really, really distinctive bark on it, but not really, I suppose you can call it a tree, but it's not like massively huge. Someone's been trying to build a shelter there, do you reckon? Very conveniently placed sticks, aren't they? Awesome. We've used all these bits of oak that have fallen off. Lovely bit of firewood that is. Oak burns for a nice long time, nice and hot. Why waste your energy gathering anything else, to be honest? So at the bottom of the tree there, as the canopy grows up and it's getting its food from the sun up there, these branches will die back, and they're known as fire antlers because they look like antlers and they're good for fire. There you go. Another bit of dead elder. Any Jew's ears on it? No. Jew's ears, there we go. Boom, lovely little cluster. Now hopefully they'll spread and this whole thing will get covered in them. Still quite small this time of year, and I've seen these massive, they're absolutely huge. You can get, grow like, full on ear size like that. The Jew's ear can grow on other trees. This is probably either a hazel or an ash. I think it's an ash, to be honest. I know they grow on ash for sure. We've got a good sized one up there. We've got another decent sized one there. And a load of little, like a cluster right the way down that branch. This is a big old tree. That ain't no elder. Yeah. But that's an elder, so that's probably what's infected this one with the spores. There you go, size of that one. Yeah, so dry them out, use them like pasta. Good stuff. So I just made myself a bit of cordage for some bramble. Not used bramble before. I saw Mancy from Wilderness Pioneers make some bramble cordage, and I thought I'll give it a go. I have a bit of a collection. Right, so these are mostly nettle. The one right at the back is bay tree willow herb. And I've got a piece of elder, because it's hollow, as a bead. So I'm going to add this to my collection and see how well it holds up. Now, hang on. That white one right in the middle is over a year old. It's actually been outdoors for a year. It was tied up on a crate last year, and when I went back to teach this year it was still there, so I stuck it back on. So yeah, you can kind of see how they've aged. So obviously those ones are 2 or 3 days old, and I've retwisted most of these, and that one's a year old. So yeah, This one's a lot thinner. I didn't get as much cordage out of it because they're starting to get a bit hard now. Early in the year when you've got the nice thick stems, bramble's fairly useful. Another dead elder there. Dead elder all over the place and I've never really noticed it. So I may come back and gather some dews here, but I don't like taking stuff that I don't actually need at the time, you know. But at least I know it grows here. And that's a half dead elder. So yeah, the beads are really straightforward to make. Just carve one end round and then carve a V into it of the length you want the bead, and then you can strip the bark off and paint them if you want to. Pretty straightforward. Right, so I've got a little bit of hazel here, nice flexible sterile wood. So if we carve a spike on one end, it's just a nice little project, this is. So you got a nice spike and we stick that in the ground. Then we find the straight bit, right, and then we'll work our way down and we'll take a curl off. Then we'll turn it and we'll take a curl off. And we'll take a curl off, not going too deep, we want it nice and gentle. We're just taking the bark off to start with. Good when you want to practice your feather sticks. Now the more time you spend so that's all we're doing, yeah? We're just going to keep working around it. Now this is on green wood, so it's not a feather stick. So just keep turning till you get to the, there's like a little pithy bit in the middle of hazel. Right, then we snap that off, like that. Give it a squish. And there you have a pretty flower. So you can stick a little flower in the ground and go, oh look, I made a load of pretty flowers, yeah? Or it's a dart. Yeah, so a good one to do, and because it's a nice long bit of wood, you're always cutting away from yourself. So it always involves cuts away from yourself, so it's a nice safe one that kids can do. So there you go. So it's a dart or it's a pretty flower, depending on whether it's boys or girls. There you go. Right, there's some really good mugwort around there. Really nice dark stems. All these are, crunch them up, smell absolutely amazing. Right, so just in this ground inside the road, so we've got a nice red stem, green leaves on top, very silver underneath. This is mugwort, right? Smells very lavendery. Yeah. And a really good bug repellent. Shut up. Yeah, really good bug repellent. So rub it on your legs and your hands to keep all manner of beasties away. No idea if it's like a tick repellent or anything, but it works pretty well on mosquitoes. Whenever I find it, I always kind of rub it on my arms and legs, and I don't get bitten that much anyway. So whether it works or not, I don't know. But it's because it's called mugwort. They reckon it's a comes from midgewort, so as a bug repellent. There's also people think it's psychoactive as well, and you can smoke it or eat it, and it gives you a higher state of consciousness or something and makes you a bit stoned. And it's related to wormwood, which is in absinthe, which is also like a psychoactive substance. So there could be some truth behind it, or some people could just be more sensitive to it than others. Don't know. It also can cause miscarriage, as so can absinthe, because it tightens the uterus and can cause you to have a miscarriage. So if you're pregnant, stay the hell away from it. Definitely don't eat it.